Customer service shouldn't just be a department. It should be the entire company. Tony Hsieh. You have the power to be the boss of your own life. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, entrepreneur, best-selling author, lifelong learner, and your biz bestie. I have a love and passion for all things small business. Growing my own company from $700 to over 7 figures annually, my goal is to bring you inspiration, business-focused topics and tips, encouragement, and a community that helps you launch, grow, and scale your business, whether you are a dreamer, a side hustler, or a seasoned entrepreneur. You are listening to the Become Your Own Boss podcast. Do you know the heartbeat of any successful business? I would venture to say that it is customer service. This can truly make or break a company over time. And today I want to dive a little more into this because I recently experienced going into Ulta Beauty and I had no one speak to me. No one attempted to help me, even though I know I looked confused because there are so many bottles and tubes in that place. I did not know where to start looking for the one product that I needed. I finally went up to 2 people and I just thought probably they worked there because I wasn't for sure. Neither one of them had on anything distinctively Ulta. They did not have what I was looking for, which is fine. But I walked out of that store thinking I will never come back here again. Then I went next door to Rack Room Shoes because I was looking for some silver sneakers to wear to the mother-son dance at my son's school. Immediately upon walking into the door, a store colleague greeted me, and she actually had on a Rack Room name badge. I felt welcomed. She asked me if she could help me. I told her what I was looking for, and she stated, I don't think we have anything in silver, but take a look on that back aisle. And so I did that. I didn't buy anything that day, but when my daughter asked for Converse for her birthday, I ordered them from Rack Room Shoes. I ordered them from the website and picked them up at that location. Why do I tell you this story? I tell you this because as business owners, it is our job to ensure that we, as well as our team, deliver excellent customer service. These days, I would just settle for good. It's hard to get good, but excellent is what we should all aim for. So today I want to talk more about what that looks like. Now, do we in my company always get it right? No, but we have been in business in a physical location for 15 years and online for 22. So though we might not be perfect, we've obviously done something right. And today I want to talk to you about that. I'm going to share with you 5 key elements this week, and I'll do the other 5 next week. Number 1, the power of first impressions. We have probably all heard the phrase, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. This quote is credited to Will Rogers, and it's very true. We have to keep in mind with our businesses what we look like to our client or customer. And this is whether we're at a physical location or online. But let's talk online first. What does the entrance to our website look like? And even though it's not a physical door, it is truly an entrance. It's a entryway into our world for our client or customer. Is it easy to navigate? Does it answer their questions? Is it attractive? Does it make people want to explore more? Look at your products and services more deeply, connect with you via a newsletter, get to know you better. These are all the questions you should ask yourself when looking at your website, or perhaps even getting friends and family or other people to take a look at your website. Now, of course, there's also the physical location. You can ask yourself, how do you or your team make your customer feel when they enter your physical location? Do they feel welcome? Do they feel like you want them there? Or are they made to feel like they are a nuisance or getting on someone's nerves? I really cannot stand when I go to a place and I feel like I have inconvenienced the person who is working there, the person who's supposed to be there to help me. Ensure that you and your team give a great first impression, whether you're online, a physical location, or even over the phone. One of the things we trained our team to do is when you're on the phone, smile, because people can actually hear you when you smile, when you're talking to them. So again, a great first impression goes a long way to help your business and to make someone want to shop with you. Number 2, building customer relationships. We recently received this testimonial from a customer. I received my order today and it was absolute fire. And he has a little fire emoji. Much thanks to the team for another outstanding job. I have never met this customer. We've talked on the phone. Several of us have talked to him on the phone, but he always orders online. He's never been in the store, but he's been shopping with us since 2017. And last week, I had a customer in our store that stated, "I'm so glad that you all are still here. And I see the same faces." Now, this can be a bit of a catch-22 because on one hand, I don't want customers to get really attached to seeing Ethan and I, and even some of our older team members who have left or they now work freelance, people will come in and look for them. So people do get attached, but that's because you want to build relationships. It helps people really feel comfortable with your business when they feel comfortable with the people in your business. So you do want to build those relationships, and you want to train new people that come in to do the same thing. Also, more recently, I had a customer send a link to us around information about procurement here in the city of Atlanta. She thinks so highly of us that she thinks we should be a vendor for the city. And I think that's just a testament to the customer service that we've provided to her. So building relationships with your customers and clients are key. Number 3, effective communication skills. What I've learned over the past 20 years through this business as well as working in other companies is that it is vital to communicate clear expectations to customers. I can remember when I worked in corporate, I was young. I hadn't really worked in a client-based role before. And I had a client call, they asked me a question, and I needed to find out the answer because I didn't know the answer. Well, 2 days later, my manager calls me into her office and she says, "Hey, I got a call from this client. You haven't gotten back to them on this answer." And I said, "Well, I don't have the answer yet. I'm waiting to hear back from the insurance carrier." And she told me, "Well, regardless, you should follow up with them and say, 'Hey, I'm still waiting on the answer on this. I haven't heard back yet. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.'" And that was a huge lesson for me in that communicating with your customer or client to let them know where they are in a process or what you're doing for them is very, very essential for making sure that they know you're working on their behalf. One of the things with our current business is all of our items are made to order. And it does seem that sometimes our customers miss this. So over the years, we have put it on our proofs to highlight it. Make sure that it's on every web page on our website and it links to the production times of each item on our website. We have done everything possible we can do to make sure that they understand that it's made to order and that it does take time to produce. Now, do we still get questions? Yes. We also put it inside their order, like actually online where they can log in and see the status of their order. We want to over-communicate. Also, as business owners, we have to communicate with customers online, on the phone, and in person if you have a physical location. The goal is for this communication to be done clearly, concisely, and effectively. This is also why it's so important to establish standards of operating procedures, or SOPs. We've talked about this before. SOPs allows us to be very clear with our team members on what words they should use because you can actually put in scripts for them. You can let them know words they shouldn't use. But if you give them a script and you don't want them to sound scripted, you want people to embody it and sound normal and natural, but you want to give your team a foundation of how to talk to the customer, how you want your brand to sound. And these are the types of things you want to record in your SOPs. And I recommend establishing these sooner than later. Even if you're currently a sole proprietor, you're the only person in your company, go ahead and start documenting how do you talk to your clients around this issue or that issue. And I can remember when I decided to go off and fulfill my dream of being an interior designer, I worked at a company that is a high-end furniture retailer. And one of the things that they always taught us is manage your customers' expectations. That means speak truthfully to them and let them know this sofa is going to take 8 weeks. It's not going to take 6. Doesn't matter that you're having a party or that Thanksgiving is in 4 weeks. This sofa is going to take 8 weeks. And that was a really great lesson for me. And as a business owner, we want to make sure that we do that. We want to set the expectations correctly and communicate those to our customers and clients. This actually makes them happy, even though they may not be happy with the time frame. They at least know. You will also find that in order for you to actually grow and scale your business, you have to set up these standards of operating procedures. And this is what I think, even though I'm sure Ulta Beauty has this, I do think this is the piece that was missing when I walked into that store. And it may just be a re-up on training to speak when someone comes into the store, to go to a customer if they look confused, ask them questions. Is there something I can do to help you? Those are the types of things that should be in their standards of operating procedures. And they probably are. But truthfully, these team members probably either don't know where they are, don't look at them on a regular basis, and probably haven't looked at them or seen them since they went through their 3 days or a week of training. So again, just to round this one out, communication, 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 and effective communication via email, phone, or in person is imperative for customer service excellence and success. Number 4, handling customer complaints and feedback. Okay, no matter how great you are, no matter how on top of your core values you are, you and your team, no matter how much you focus on the excellence of customer service, inevitably, you will encounter customer complaints and feedback. Truthfully, sometimes this can be hurtful. Someone has said something negative about your baby. But when these things happen, I implore you to do just a few things. Another little list here. 1, don't respond immediately, even though you may want to, especially if it's via email. It's great if it's via email because you can pause. If you're on the phone, this is a bit different, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But don't respond immediately. Number 2, take a moment to think. What parts of the feedback are true? Because there's probably some part of it that's true. It may not be all of it, but what part is? Assess what went wrong. Discuss this with your team. And then thirdly, what's the solution? Ideally, you want to get the customer to happy. I put happy in air quotes, but you want to get the customer to a point of them being satisfied with the service or product you've provided. However, I will say this with a caveat. There are some people that just aren't going to be happy no matter what you do. And though this is rare, there are just some unhappy people in the world. So it doesn't matter what you do, they're just going to be unhappy. But if you try to get there, most customers will give you credit for that. Now, don't respond immediately. Take a moment to think, figure out what part of the feedback is true, and figure out a solution. Now, if you have someone over the phone, let's say they're upset and you want to resolve it. But if you aren't careful, then depending on the words that are said, you might get upset. And it may not be handled best. So what I've learned to do is to still don't respond immediately. You want to nicely get off the phone. And you can do this by saying, I'm not sure how we can resolve this right now. Let me speak to the team. Or you can say, let me speak to the manager, or let me speak to the owner. Because sometimes they may not know you're the owner if you are the owner speaking to them. But push it off on someone else to just buy you some time. I especially have to do this if it's a situation we haven't encountered before. And I simply don't know the answer. Because as a business owner, there's going to be things that you run up against that you haven't dealt with, and you might not know how you want to resolve that. So again, you want to buy yourself some time. And I will say this is a great time to have a team or a partner or someone that you can just bounce ideas or thoughts off of, because they can help you think through it. They may give you an idea of how to resolve it that you haven't even thought of. And I love the fact that Ethan is really good at asking questions. And he'll ask questions like, well, how would you like to see this resolved? Or what would make you happy? Again, you don't have to make a decision in the moment, but let them know you'll discuss it with your team or with your partner or with your manager or whatever, and you'll have to circle back to them. You may be asking, what if they put me on blast or put our company on blast online? And I read this book once, and I can't remember the name of it, but once I find it, I will let you all know what the name of the book is. But in this book, they discuss how you can actually use negative feedback online as a marketing opportunity, especially on those platforms where you can respond. I think you can respond on Yelp now. I remember at one point you couldn't do that, but you want to respond in a way that tells your side of the story. You do not bash your customer. You only state facts, and you share the positives of the process, the procedures, the quality, and you make it more of an opportunity to share how great your company is. Now, if you messed up, say you messed up, that you have apologized, or you can apologize publicly. That even looks better. And let them know that you're working to rectify the situation with this customer, to make them whole, to make them happy, satisfied. And you, of course, you do this only if it's true, if you're working with them to make them happy, make them whole, help them become satisfied. But share your side of the story. The thing is, you can find negative feedback online for every company out there. And that's why I'm telling you, it's inevitable. You cannot and will not please everyone. In doing research for this episode, I have often heard about the fabulous service that the Ritz-Carlton provides. But in doing research for this episode, I found an article that put them on blast about a service failure, actually multiple service failures in one client's stay. But there are exceptions, right? Things happen, but they are known for the fact that they give team members $2,000 an incident to rescue a customer experience or a guest experience. But even they have moments of failure, and we all do. It's inevitable. We can do what we can to make it better, to handle it, to do our best to get our customer to happy or satisfied, if that's possible. So that's number 4. And lastly, for today, personalization and customization. Our entire brand at Zeus's Closet is all about personalizing and customizing. And there may be a place in your business where you can tailor products or services to your customers' preferences. I have found, though, you do have to be careful about stepping too much outside of your systems because you want to make sure you can actually fulfill the request. Also, customization can make a business more difficult to scale. However, this is something that you have to decide based on the bandwidth of you and your team. Because the last thing you want to do is say you can do something customized or personalized to a client, but not be able to deliver. That's not helpful to your brand. But if you can make it happen, then that's great. It can help create memorable moments and strengthen brand loyalty. If you can't, be honest about that. The thing is, we will all have some failures in the arena of customer service. We are all human and not perfect. However, too many failures or lack of service will lead to loss of business. That is just a fact. Even if a company stays in business, there will be some people who will choose not to shop there due to the lack of service. This is how I feel about Walmart. And I used to work there as a teenager, but the service level has changed drastically, or at least it had the last time I chose to step foot in a store, which has been a few years. As Tony Hsieh stated in the quote I shared at the top of the episode, customer service shouldn't just be a department. It should be the entire company. And if you don't know who Tony Hsieh is, he was an entrepreneur and venture capitalist, former CEO of Zappos, which is a company well known for customer satisfaction, always being top of mind and job number 1 for their team. Our teams must embody an attitude of service. And truthfully, that starts at the head of the company or at the top of the company. with us as entrepreneurs and business owners. It starts with us. Even for the team members who are not customer-facing, those team members impact those that are. Thus, it's imperative that we all embody a disposition of service. This requires internal work, which we will talk more about next week. So just to summarize the 5 nuggets we covered today, the power of first impressions must be considered and thought through. You want to build customer relationships, have effective communication, handle customer complaints and feedback with grace and ease and helpfulness, and consider, where you can, personalization and customization. Thanks for listening today. I'm grateful for you. Just a reminder that my free ebook, 11 Secrets to Small Business Success, is still available on my website to download at monicaallen.com. Go over and grab that or see the link in the show notes. If you don't mind, take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Remember, customer service is about serving. If we have no one to serve, we do not have a business. We will continue with 5 more key points next week. Also remember that now is the time. Now is the time to level up, leave a legacy, and become your own boss.